CS, what do you make of this decision?
Well, I think it means that the new government recognises that the previous government had simply loaded school inspection up with too heavy a burden of consequences. And it means that behind the scenes, government is changing or withdrawing many of the policies that it had hung on overall effectiveness judgments, especially academisation. I simply could not respond to many of the concerns last year because the government at the time wouldn't acknowledge that fear of inspection overwhelmingly related to the fear of consequences. I listened a lot to the sector. I knew that. So this is quite a very interesting switch and potentially a powerful switch to say all of the richness of the information that inspection provides really matters. Those judgments of individual areas really matter. I think this is beneficial for inspection. I think it's beneficial for schools. I think it's beneficial for parents and children.
I mean, the one-word or two-word system was in place for many years, so there must have been a case for it. What was that case?
People mix things up. It's not actually the wording of judgments that's changing. It is the overall effectiveness judgment that's being removed. Now, it's the consequences that were hung on that were doing the damage. There is actually some value in an overall effectiveness judgment. Many inspectorates use them, but if it is going to carry disproportionate weight, it's better to focus people on the individual judgments like quality of education, behaviour, personal development and so on.
But what was that value? If there was a value, what was that value? Was it the clarity for parents?
Yeah, when you survey parents, generally they like the simplicity and clarity. Various surveys have showed stronger support from parents for models with overall effectiveness judgments. But nevertheless, they had become, because of the weight of consequences that government had hung on them, they had become more of a problem than a help.
Because last July you said that it would become a problem if the assessments became, as I think you're repeating now really, if they became so wrapped up in so many words that it's hard for parents and users to know what they need. Is that still a concern for you?
It would be, yes, but this announcement is not about changing the wording of judgments. It's simply about taking out that overall effectiveness judgment and the consequences linked to it. There was a big ratchet in 2021 when the academisation was linked not just to inadequate judgments, but also to a second requires improvement judgment. And that really increased fear in the sector to an unhelpful degree where people could barely concentrate on the process of inspection because they were so worried for their futures.
But isn't there then a danger that this move reduces the clarity for parents?
That's the risk, and this shouldn't be about simply putting the interests of schools and their staff ahead of children. It's really important that inspection is first and foremost for children, but I believe that you can do that provided you have this full set of judgments. The other thing that I think is implied by this announcement is that the short ungraded inspections that were all government would fund OFSTED to do for most schools will be scrapped so that it can do a full set of judgments in every inspection.
And to what extent do you think the government is softening the consequences of inspections?
It's clear from the announcement that ratchet of the second requires improvement judgment leading to intervention is being taken out. I advise government strongly against putting it in the first place. It's also clear that they will rightly be keeping the power to intervene for schools with serious problems. And of course, that's a very necessary protection for children and their parents.
Do you think it's a bit weird that they've said they'll scrap these, but they haven't been very clear about what's going to replace them?
There's very little that's being taken out. It's actually only the overall effectiveness judgment that's being taken out, which means government is taking... I couldn't change that because the policies... Government had many, many policies that linked directly to those policies. So nothing could change at the OFSTED end because government didn't want to change.
And
but the scorecard that comes out, that is the next stage, I would expect it to look like an evolution of the scorecard that inspections already give about quality of education, behaviour, personal development. It'll be an iteration of that.
And has OFSTED got the resources to do what it needs to do?
It hasn't had... been properly resourced for a very long time. 3/4 of the school inspection budget has been gradually pulled out of it over the last 20 years.
So do you want Bridget Phillipson, who's on this programme in less than an hour, to provide more money?
Well, to provide a full scorecard in every inspection will mean more inspection work.
And that needs to be funded?
That will have to be funded, of course.